Scruffy Audio Network.
Okay. Hey, welcome to Why Would You Go There, podcast about travel. I'm Troy.
I'm Lee.
And we have a special guest with us again.
A two-time
repeat special guest.
First
it's
ever
Wayne.
Repeater.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Spouses.
Yeah.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. So Wayne is with us, and I don't know if Wayne knows this, but most of the listeners don't know this, but the podcast that Wayne was on last, immediately following that, we had the most downloads we've ever had.
Wow.
So we expect people listening to this to tell all their friends to download a ton. We need to get 200 downloads in one day after this thing gets released.
It's good to have expectations.
Yeah, that's right.
They're high expectations. So Wayne's with us today because he just got back from someplace cool, and we're going to talk about it. You want to tell people what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Hawaii!
Except Wayne, every time I say Hawaii, he comes back with something different. He doesn't say Hawaii. He refers to it as
the Big Island.
The Big Island.
Oh, I thought he was going to say Hawaii.
Which actually is Hawaii.
So I was right. We're talking about Hawaii, and it's the Big Island.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Don't be bashful, Wayne.
Yeah.
You know how this works now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because there's so many islands, right? And they're all a different name.
So how many are there?
That I don't know.
I think there's 8 main islands. There's probably other
a ton
smaller,
of little tiny islands. Sure.
Right. This one is by far the largest and the most southern.
Okay.
It's the island.
Are we just talking about the main one?
No, actually.
We can talk about whatever you want.
Okay, good. Because I was like, dang it, I prepped for other stuff.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Well, we are not talking about Scotland or
And have you
Alaska.
been there? Have you been there? Shocking. You haven't.
I haven't.
Well, surprising. I'll carry another podcast again.
That's why I brought Wayne
with my
in.
travel.
I was so sick of you talking about everywhere you've been.
Yeah. Wayne, how many times have you been there?
I've been to Hawaii twice.
Okay.
Only once in the last 20 years.
Okay.
Oh.
Nice. So, did you go same place both times, or you go different?
No. The first time was Maui.
Okay.
And Maui's terrific. I don't remember all that much about it. It was a long time ago. But this time was to the Big Island, which is oddly enough named Hawaii.
Yes.
And we chose the Big Island because, well, let's be honest, rates were really good.
Yeah.
To get there, they had the volcano Kilauea had been erupting for a long time, and it really put a damper on tourism.
Okay.
And so the volcano is no longer erupting.
Because nobody wants to get blown up in a volcano.
It's actually not that type of volcano, but the fumes aren't great.
That's, yes.
And we got a great rate on the flight and the hotel, and decided to go. It was actually cheaper to go there than it was to Jamaica.
Oh, wow.
That was our original plan.
Yeah.
That is shocking.
So, the Big Island, Hawaii, it's broken up into like 2 parts, right? The east is Hilo or Hilo. Hilo, and the west is Kona.
That's right.
Right, so...
and they're completely different.
Yes.
So, in Hawaii, in just a short hour drive, you can go from low desert to high desert to tropical rainforest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those 2 parts of the island, one of them is desert and the other one's tropical.
Yeah. So the island is those 2 hemispheres of the island separated by the volcanoes. There's 3 volcanoes on there, 3 large volcanoes. So Mauna Kea, that's where the Space Observatory is, and then Mauna Loa, which is the second most active in the world. And then
they make great macadamia nuts too.
There's a lot of macadamia nut plantations there. And then Kilauea, which is the one that the most active in the world, and it was erupting last year.
Okay.
And Mauna Kea is 14,000 feet. So because it's so tall, the trade winds that push the weather across get blocked, creating the desert on the west side of the island.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you go up? Well, I guess we're going to talk a little bit about as we go through this about what you did while you were there. So what else do you want to talk about before we get to actually things that you did and things that you think people have to do?
So I was going to say, Wayne kind of hit on it a little bit, but the landscape is so different there. You know, so I'd been to Hawaii once before, and we went to only Oahu. And then I went back, I think it was the next year, it may have been 2 years later, and I did Maui and Hawaii, the Big Island. And the Big Island was like the last thing that we did. And when I went, like flying in, it's just a crater. I mean, like it's not lush. There's no.
You flew into Kona, I guess.
Yes, yeah. So it's weird because it's like, all this other parts of Hawaii. Everything's so green and tropical and beautiful, and then you're literally landing on a volcano, more or less.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as far as you can see as you're landing is just. Like the lava fields. It's kind of cool.
And the fields
very different.
They're completely unforgiving.
Yes.
You think, well, I could drive across dried lava. No, you can't.
Really, yeah.
We had to rent a Jeep, and so we did cross a few spots. And I was thinking, I need to remember, hey, idiot, you have to drive this thing out of here.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Why? So what? Do you sink into it? Is it like sand?
No, it's just rock. It's rock. It's just iron. It's totally unforgiving.
So you don't sink into it, but there's just all kinds of depressions and stuff.
I guess if you had something with a lot of clearance, then you would be okay. But in just a standard Jeep, it was a near thing.
Oh wow,
super.
That's
jagged.
actually kind of cool.
Yeah, it is.
I guess it's cool to see.
Oh yeah, it is. It's like I said, it's unforgiving territory though.
Yeah.
So I'll talk about, and then Wayne, you can talk about it as well. But the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, did you go to that part of it?
Yeah, we went to Volcano.
Good. Let's hear about that.
So I think what's cool about that is literally, you mentioned the smell. You smell sulfur. You see like the steam and stuff coming out of certain places.
Through the vents right on the side of the road.
Yeah, as you're driving along. So it's interesting because, again, you go from all this lush area to it's just straight black with maybe a little bit of grass here and there, because the black is the lava, dried or whatever you want to call it. And it was just interesting to see, and you could walk around, and then they have places that you can stay kind of in this park. And we did not do this. This is kind of one of those regrets that if we go back, we'll do it. But I don't know if you did it or not, Wayne, but apparently you can go and then you can see obviously the lava. It's still active, so you can see lava at night and see the the red glow. And
it wasn't erupting when we were there, so you couldn't see that. Although I saw some fantastic pictures of it there. Mm-hmm. We went to a luau one night, and at the luau,
I saw
trade show.
Pictures. Yeah,
had the beautiful pictures for sale.
So was the luau like the day you got there, a different day? Because
yeah, the luau was held at the Waikola Hilton. That's where we stayed.
Okay.
Which is a beautiful hotel. It's a number of buildings that make up the Waikea Hilton, and the luau is on that property.
Okay.
So we stayed there too. The village, the Hilton Waikoloa Village, or is it different?
and we stayed in the Ocean Tower. Which one were you in?
I don't remember.
Is it the one that's shaped like
huge.
A couple of tires?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay, yeah, same one.
And it. It has boats that run you from place to place, almost like a tram, because it's so big. And when I
had a box turtle that's faster than those boats, by the way.
That's true. But when it says it's a village, it's literally a village. I mean, you do not have to leave this place if you don't want to.
No, if you're made of money, you don't have to leave at all.
Well, that's true. It is expensive, but it's got all kinds of restaurants. It's got different water sports and different things. And we'll talk about beaches probably in a little bit.
The lagoon there is amazing.
What's interesting is you can't really get on the beach very well because it's so rocky.
Oh, it would tear you up like falling on a cheese grater.
So it's so it's interesting because you think of Hawaii and you're like hanging out on the beach and stuff, but there you can't really get to it. So you got to keep that in mind. But
that's because of the lava?
Yeah, there are some beautiful beaches there. Mm-hmm. So a lot of your listeners are accustomed to the East Coast beaches and the Caribbean, and so they're accustomed to crushed limestone beaches.
Also, Wayne, come on, we have listeners all over the world.
I'm sure you do. These beaches are volcanic, and being that this is the newest island, it's not as well crushed, I guess.
Okay.
And so there's a few soft sand beaches. Went to one beach that had green sand, one of the very few in the entire world.
Okay. Sounds very cool.
It was very cool. I was nearly killed there. I'll tell you the story sometime. You'll hear it.
Why not now?
Yeah, I definitely want to hear the story now.
Okay. So If you got a minute, I'll just lay it out.
Yeah, let's
how
do
we
it.
got there. So
Please.
we were there on this trip with another family, Philip Townsend and his family, best friend in the world, and our kids are friends, so wives are friends. So it was good to be with them.
Yep.
And but we were at the what's called the country's most southern deli, and we had lunch. And Brandon, my oldest, he's 19. He wasn't ready to just go to another beach. He wanted to go explore some more. We just been to Volcano Park. He wasn't ready to go, so he wanted to do some other things. So he tells me, "Hey, there's a beach here that's got green sand. It's one of 4 in the world. I want to go do that. It's a short hike." I said, "Okay, well we can do that."
Yeah.
So we break off with them. They go on back to the hotel, and we head off to this beach. It's only 2 miles. 2 miles down a very windy road, kind of like you're going to Del Rio or something. It was extremely small. And then you go off-road on these off-road trails through enormous dunes.
But you had a Jeep.
I had a Jeep.
Yeah.
Through enormous dunes, and then across some lava fields. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
There was one point where we stopped and said, gut check time. Do I go on or do we just go back?
Yeah.
Or do we just walk from here? So we finally did go on. And it wasn't that bad for the rest of it. And walked down the side of the mountain, down to the green beach. And the beach was greenish. It was greenish gold.
Okay.
And I thought, well, I've come all this way. I might as well get in.
Right.
So I throw my shirt and the keys and phone to Misty, and I head out to the ocean. And I get waist deep, and it is the most powerful thing I've ever felt.
Oh, wow.
Really?
The ground simply disappearing below my feet.
Oh, wow.
And so when the waves started coming back in, I just, took all my pride, threw it out the window, dove to the ground, and let it carry me in. I had I must have had 5 pounds of sand in my pants.
Why are we laughing? I have that now.
But I thought, I didn't die here. So
Wow. So it was just this incredible force of wave.
Incredible. It's such a narrow lagoon that I guess that's causing it. But and there was some other people out there, kids. They looked like they were local kids who obviously knew what the hell they were doing, and I didn't. So, but that was a very cool.
Did
experience.
Brandon get in?
No, he saw what happened to me.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
Oh.
So the 2-hour drive back to the hotel, that was a scratchy situation.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. So let's
very cool.
Let's go back to
wait a minute. So, but it wasn't worth it. Or,
no, you know what?
maybe to say you did it.
Well, now it's a good story.
Yeah,
You can tell.
It's a good story, so it's worth it for that. If you were saying, "Hey, Wayne, I'm going to go. Should I go see this green beach?"
Yeah.
Like, well, do you have a chance to see something that nobody else is going to see?
Right.
That's probably worth it.
Yeah.
But I would tell you this: the locals are taking people in their pickup trucks down there. The locals know the trails. The locals have the trucks with the clearance to not worry about dragging.
Okay.
I was constantly worried about dragging, even in a Jeep.
Yeah.
I would do that.
Okay.
Some people are walking, and there's no way I would do that. It's a mile and a half
Over rough terrain.
Over rough terrain. That's so it's a mile and a half in. It's a mile and a half out. I would probably just pay the locals to take me.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Well, that's good information.
That is great information. So let's go back to the Waikoloa Village. You hit on the lagoon earlier.
Yeah, lagoon's beautiful.
It had a couple lagoons, I think, but it had pools too. But gosh, that's why you go there. I mentioned that you can't get on the beach really, or we can't. You mentioned that,
right? In that lagoon, there's sea turtles that nest in that lagoon. They live in that lagoon, and they rent scuba gear. Or not scuba, I'm sorry. They rent snorkels.
Yeah.
So we snorkeled, saw the sea turtles. Also, you can rent paddle boards.
Okay.
Yeah, paddle boards, kayaks, canoes, that kind of stuff. Just a lot of that water sports.
And this
non-motorized
this lagoon
water
is owned
sports.
by the hotel?
Yeah, it's right in the middle of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
it's big too. I mean, we say lagoon, it doesn't sound like it's that big, but it's pretty big.
It's probably 150 yards long, maybe.
Oh, gosh.
Easy.
And at high tide, maybe 80 yards
That's
wide.
big. That's really big.
Yeah. So that actually was beautiful, and then you can snorkel, you can see different things, and of course they got the normal pools with like the waterfalls in them and stuff like that. So
the kids enjoyed the waterfalls.
I bet. it's a beautiful resort. I mean, they've done it up right. And again, there's all kinds of restaurants on it, but of course,
expensive.
Yes, definitely.
And everything there is. It's hard to get it there.
Well,
but the Hilton restaurants, they know they have you captive.
So
it's expensive.
Okay. I when I flew there, not to this island, but the first time I went there, we got on the plane and we figured out, we don't get a meal on the plane. This is interesting. This is like a whatever it is, 7 or 8 hour plane ride. I can't remember how long it is. And we don't get a meal. So I'm starving by the time I get to the airport. And we get to the airport and there's a Burger King. I was like, okay, I gotta go get a hamburger. I'm starving. Yeah, it was like $21 for a burger and fries and drink there.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
So, I mean, of course, that's at the airport, so it's more expensive. But it's expensive all over the island because it's an island. Just keep that in mind. It's tough to obviously
get. Which is probably why I haven't been.
When you get to some of the smaller towns, and we spent quite a bit of time just out exploring the island.
Yeah.
When you get some of the smaller towns, you might pay $1 more for a burger there than you would here. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
But Hilton definitely knows you're stuck. And there's nothing around. There are some outlet-type shops, but they're not outlet-type prices, right outside the hotel. But the food there is expensive as well. You're going to pay for your food if you stay there.
Yeah.
All right, so what else? What else do we want to talk about? I want to talk about some of the stuff that Wayne thinks that you have to do when you're there. Of course, I'll get your opinion too, but I don't care for it as much.
Yeah, I don't care to tell you either, so forget it.
All right, so a couple of things. You got a lot of options. It's a huge island. You had the option. You could just stay there at the Waikoloa Hilton and never leave it.
You really could.
And it's beautiful, and the staff's terrific, and it's a lot of fun. But if you decide to get off, and I suggest you rent a car first.
Yeah.
Rent a Jeep. You'll wish you had if you don't. Because it gives you a lot of options. And you need to go do Volcano Park.
Okay.
Volcano Park. From Waikoloa, you can catch the Saddle Road, and it takes you between Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea, and takes you over to Hilo, and then you go south on the highway right into Volcano Park. It's easy to find. Roads are good to get to it.
Okay.
And at Volcano Park, you want to see the steam vents, and then you want to see the crater. The crater for Kilauea is enormous. It's breathtakingly large.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's...
So how'd the crater get formed? What is this?
From the volcano.
It's just, so the volcano just erupts?
It's the primary vent for the volcano.
Okay.
So
if you believe in that. It's very scientific.
Yeah, I do.
So the crater's formed by when the magma chamber flows through the vents, the ground above the crater collapses and falls into it, making more eruption.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
But you're right. It is huge, and there's like different vantage points. Like you can go to a few different places, I think, to see different.
Yeah, lots of it was closed when we were there because of the eruptions last year.
And yes, and they did, and it did close down. And that's where I mentioned, you could, the volcano house, like you could stay in the park, and at night you can see the lava, and we could see it steaming and stuff. And then they had like in the like the tourist building,
gift shop,
visitor
center.
What visitor center? Yes, perfect.
Right, we were there.
They have like cameras that point down into it, right? And you can look
see
into it and see some of the lava. So that's kind of cool too. If you can't stay there at night, then that's one of those places that you got to go. But you can see very different vantage points, and then you can walk around different areas if you want to walk around. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's if you're wanting to see volcanoes, that's a great place to.
If you're into that, then that's the place
I think
to go.
it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, it is.
And so I think it's a must do.
So how much time did you spend there? How much time does it take you to really get?
Well,
get a good idea?
It took us about 2 hours to get there.
Yeah,
and then we spent about 2 hours there.
Okay,
I mean
a couple hours you can see.
Yeah, we had preteen kids with us, and so their attention span was spent at that point.
Well, that's the same attention span I have.
That is so true.
We were there and we saw it, and so you can check that off the bucket list. You really have to go.
Okay.
After that, we drove south along the highway, which takes you back up on to Mauna Loa, and then down to the most southern point of the island, and that's where this place is famous. If you look at any YouTube videos about the Big Island and talk about going to the most southern deli, which has a terrific burger.
Okay.
And then down there is where the green beach is at.
Yeah, the Green Beach you just talked about.
Right,
Yeah.
and you could do that. But if you continue on around the highway, it'll start bringing you back up the west coast, and that's where Kona is at. Captain Cook Beach is there in Kona. Captain Cook Beach is a beach that Captain Cook landed on back during his piracy days.
Yeah, okay.
And then Kona is up there. Kona is the second largest city on the island. Hilo is the largest. And Kona has got some fishing.
All right.
And there's some good restaurants there. We ate at the Fish Hopper. It was excellent. We ate there Father's Day. That was really good.
Good.
And also around Kona, you'll find the Kona coffee plantations.
Right. I was going to make a joke about that.
Yeah. Well,
What was your joke?
let's hear it.
I really didn't have a joke. I was going to make a joke about the fact that it was coffee.
So, like most of your jokes, it's not.
It's
funny
really
at
not
all.
funny at all. Okay, sorry about that. Moving on.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for the
At least give you an
worthless
opportunity-
interruption
At least you
for
give me the
your
opportunity to make
input
fun of me.
today.
So some of the best coffee I ever had
Yeah.
was there. It was terrific. It was. I like to put cream and sugar in my coffee.
Yep.
This coffee doesn't need cream and sugar.
Really?
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
bitter at all.
Okay. All right, cool.
And I bought some of that, brought it back. I'm enjoying that a little bit at a time.
Did you get it in a K-cup? Because it's the only kind of coffee maker I have.
You can get it in K-cup, but I got it in the kind you ground your own
Okay.
beans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, that was a joke. It's
Oh,
hilarious.
yeah, it was.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I thought it was
Sorry.
just self
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Whatever. All right. Then Waiakola is about an hour north of there. And
So-
there's not a lot to see on that side of the island because, like I said, it's all very volcanic.
Okay.
There are no rainforests.
So
on
the
that
west side of the island was all
The
Very
west side
dry.
is Kona.
ash and,
Yeah.
and
Well, no ash,
lava.
just-
I mean lava.
Yeah, lava
Yeah.
fields
Yeah.
and
So those lava fields are just rocky,
rocky,
dried rock.
dry. There's nothing growing on it but weed.
Yeah, black generally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also known for whale watching. I don't know if you knew that or not. Like in that area also.
Yep.
And then the east, the Hilo, it's the more lush, stuff. And
But it
that's-
rains there all the time.
Yes. But it's and it's known for like some of the waterfalls and stuff that you might see. And what about a lava tube? Did you do a lava tube?
Yep, we did. There's a lava tube.
Okay, you're going to have to explain that because I bet no other listeners know what that is,
Okay.
and I definitely don't know what that is.
So a lava tube is where lava went through and created a tube. How's that?
that is a great
kinda like a
explanation.
Wayne,
Yeah.
actually, you could. Is there more you want to elaborate? But that
No,
really
that's
is
pretty
pretty
much it.
simple.
So it's a cave that the lava
Yeah.
formed.
So
okay.
let me tell you where one's at.
Yeah.
If you're taking the saddle road from Kona back to Hilo, right as you get into Hilo, there is a public park lava tube. Most of these are on private property, but there's a public park lava tube, and there's a little parking lot on the side of the road. You wouldn't hardly even know you're there. Parking lot on the side of the road, walk down some stairs down into what looks like you're walking into a
Horror movie.
well, no.
Like a
Death
cavern.
trap.
Yeah, there's wild chickens around. It's kind of crazy,
Yeah.
the wild chickens. And then you walk down these steps, and then you've got the lava tube on both sides of you.
Yeah.
So you're just walking down to where part of it is collapsed.
Okay.
We walked in. This is kind of funny. So it was just me and Misty and Brandon that day. We walked into the tube. We went about 40 feet into it, and there was a collapsed area. And we climbed over the collapsed area. And I'm thinking, do I really want to go any further?
Yeah.
I had a flashlight with me, and then we had the lights on our phone. And I turned my light around, and there's some dude just sitting there. And I was like, hey. and so this guy says, hey, and he's got a southern accent, so I knew he wasn't from around there either. And he's from Texas, and he said, yeah, my family went on, but I got flip-flops on. This is as far as I'm going.
Yeah.
Wow.
'Cause it can be a little wet. I mean, it's not like too, muddy or anything.
No,
there
but
can be a
it's
little
like
bit of
walking
mud,
on
and it's-
razor blades.
Yeah, and it's
sharp.
and it can be wet in there too from like moisture and stuff, and like leaks or whatever. But they're pretty cool. I mean, they're kind of neat to go back and see one. I think it's like some things after you've seen it for a little bit or more than one, it's like okay, well this is all kind of
Well,
similar.
we went in about 30 feet, and that was far enough.
Yeah, so
It was all the same, just
Still kind of
further
experience.
it is.
Yeah,
It's very
hey,
cool.
That's right. I checked it off
Yep.
the list. I did that.
Yep.
Yeah, but like you mentioned, I mean, there's so many things like a little parking lot or a little pull off or something. You have no idea what it's for, and then there's something pretty cool like that. And that's all over Hawaii, not just in one area. So it's kind of cool. So
and some of the waterfalls of Hawaii are famous, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're the same way. I mean, you may not know it's there,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll see the parking lot for it and walk a trail, and there's this enormous waterfall. I'll send you those pictures, Doris. I'm sure you'll have those online. But the waterfalls are the same way. Just side of the road, walk a trail, and there they are.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, what else?
So I was going to tell about, I think this is in the Volcanoes National Park, which we just talked about, but the Chain of Craters Road, is that in it or is it outside?
Yeah, it is in it, and part of that was closed because of the recent lava flow.
Yeah.
But we didn't drive all the way down there, but you can take that all the way to the coast. But the highway that used to connect Volcano Park along the coast back to Hilo had been closed for many, many years, since the 87 eruption or something. So it was a one-way run. I didn't want to do that. We didn't want to spend that much time there.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's 18 miles, but it still offers good views of landscape. It's you start off really high and the elevation drops. It drops 3,700 feet in that 18 miles. So it's got a nice vantage point of different areas. We didn't actually go all the way to the end. We turned around, but apparently there's times when you can see the lava hitting the ocean out there. So,
and if that had been happening, we definitely would have done it.
I would have liked to have seen that, and I don't even know if it was happening at the time, but we didn't know. And then somebody mentioned it later, after we got back. Hey, did you drive that? No, we ended up turning around. So keep going, or at least check it out to see if that's occurring while you're there.
Another thing worth doing. So I mentioned you need to rent a Jeep. And here's why. You can, if you rent a Jeep, you can take it up to the top of Mauna Kea, where the satellite, or not satellite, but the telescopes are.
Okay.
That's certainly worth the trip at night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So at the top is 14,000 feet. At 9,000 feet is the visitor center. At the visitor center, you need to stop and you acclimate to the
climate.
To the climate, to that low oxygen. Yeah. And then travel on up to the top. Mm-hmm. Once you get there, you can watch the sunset, which is incredible. I think I imagine those pictures. Yeah. And then 30 minutes after sunset, they chase you off. But you can go back down to 9,000 feet. Mm-hmm. And we parked. We found a place where there weren't any other folks. Parked. You can lay down and just look at the stars. Yeah. And it's so many stars, I'm not exaggerating, that the sky is not actually black. It's actually white.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That is kind of cool.
Black around it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is more stars than you can possibly imagine.
Yeah. So we didn't do that. That actually sounds pretty awesome. I've had tons of people tell me that they've went up there and watched the sunrise or sunset or something. But yeah, that's good info about seeing the stars at the lower level.
Yeah, it's certainly worth the trip. That might be my favorite thing I did.
That sounds
cool.
It's a must see. It's
very cool. Yeah, it is a must see.
Another place is the if you're into hiking, and I think you should at least do this. It's kind of steep, but you two could definitely do it. Most people could do it.
I don't know about
maybe
that.
I don't know what you're talking about, but Troy,
I saw you walking earlier. I got a little worried. So maybe
That's
not.
true. That's true.
A parking lot's giving me a fit.
Did you say we could definitely do it because you meant me carrying him?
I think you get there one way or the other. So this is the Polua Valley. It's spelled like polo, like the cologne, and then Lua, L-U at the end. So this valley is at the very northern tip of the island, and it's a beautiful drive up there.
Right.
We drove up there with the T's out of the Jeep. It was fun, and then it's about a 2-mile hike down. You're coming down from about maybe 2,000 feet down to sea level.
Yeah.
And when you get down there, it's just beautiful landscapes. There's actually a terrific beach there, Black Sand Beach. And
that does sound beautiful. Now,
and then a green valley behind it.
Now, then when you get done with that, there's somebody to drive you back up to the top?
Yeah, it's righty and lefty. Right leg and left leg.
The walk down sounds amazing. It sounds like I would stand at the top and say, it looks like it's nice down there.
Yeah. I felt like I just finished. You remember the old movie Chariots of Fire?
Oh, yeah.
I felt like I just finished that. When I got to the top, it was tough.
Yeah.
Thighs of fire.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, Wayne, what else from the Big Island, Hawaii? Anything else that you want to add?
Well, I mentioned we did some fishing. We didn't catch a single thing. It was just a bad day. Nobody caught anything that day. But there's a big sport fishing industry there in Kona. And what's interesting is here on the East Coast, if you go deep sea fishing, you travel about an hour and a half out to get beyond the shelf.
Yep.
In Hawaii, you travel 15 minutes out. You get right out of the harbor, and you're off the shelf.
Yeah.
And so you don't have that long travel time to fish for marlin or other
or nothing apparently
sport fish. We caught nothing. We had one bite. It did make it to the boat, but that was just bad luck.
All right.
Okay. So one other thing that I was want to say about that Craters Road that I mentioned, where that's 18 miles, is it had different signs that told you like this lava or this area is from this volcanic eruption. So that was kind of cool too.
In 1987 or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was kind of cool too.
That is cool. Brandon did that for us when we were driving through parts of it. We would see a large vent. And Brandon would be there on the Google machine. This erupted here and this erupted then. So that was kind of cool.
All right.
Very cool.
So that's Wayne. You have anything else with Hawaii, the Big Island? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, unless something you need to dig into a little more.
No, let's move on. So
let's wrap it up. I think that we've heard all we need to hear about Hawaii from Wayne.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, see you guys later. We're out.
Go ahead.
So I just want to talk about, because I've been to two other ones, and I want to save Maui because I like Maui, and I want to go ahead and trash Oahu, which you didn't go there, right?
I have not been to Oahu.
Okay. So Oahu, Honolulu, it's the capital, and I don't know. I just wasn't impressed, and I hope I'm not.
Where's this island in relation to Hawaii?
It's
the
northern part of the chain.
So it's further away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad Wayne knew that because I had no idea.
Okay. That's why I looked to him for answers.
So that's Waikiki Beach. It's what everybody, I guess, thinks of whenever they think of Hawaii, or maybe not everybody, but that's what a lot of people think of. And it's a nice beach, but it's just so crowded. There are so many resorts and hotels there. Just to give you an idea, we're Hilton people for the most part. So we stayed at the Hilton Waikiki Beach, and it's the 17th largest hotel in the world. It has 3,800 rooms, and it's just one of, oh my gosh, I don't know. 20, 30, 40 hotels on that little stretch of beach that is not huge. So it just seems very overpopulated there. It's very touristy.
Vegas
at a beach, yes.
Yeah.
So I didn't love it, and that was the first place that we went, and where we spent the longest amount of time when we went there the first time. And I thought, I'm probably never going to go back to Hawaii again, just because it just felt
too touristy,
so underwhelming. Now,
I will say opposite of what Wayne was talking about.
Yes. Yeah. Now I will say the water was beautiful. The sand was super nice. It had a reef right there, so you could snorkel, you could see fish. So that part was great. But again, I just felt like I was just in like a city on the beach, and it just wasn't. It wasn't kosher for me.
I've heard other people say that.
So I would say if you're going there, I wouldn't recommend staying there the entire time. And I'm not saying don't go to Oahu, because there's still other places to go. You can see like Pearl Harbor, that stuff's there, and that's a great learning experience, I think.
I regret not going.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked. As much as you love history,
that's
true.
true.
Didn't get to Pearl Harbor.
I regret not going. It's just, what do you give up?
Yeah,
to get on a plane.
Yeah.
And there are inner island flights every day.
Yeah.
But what do you give up to get on a
whole
plane?
day.
It would have been a full day.
It definitely would have been. It's even if you're on the island, it's probably easy close to a half day. So to fly there 45 minutes to an hour, get out of the airport, get back into the airport somewhere or something like that, it's going to be a long day. But it's still a pretty cool place.
And you've seen Pearl Harbor?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, if you understand and respect it for what it is, which I would assume most Americans do, then it's great. They've changed it some, I think. So I think it's, how you feel about the Vietnam Veterans Wall.
Yeah.
I was slightly underwhelmed with it.
Okay.
Even though I think that they've done a good job with how they've done it. But I'd still like to see them do a little bit more, I guess. But it's still a great learning experience, and it's still something for appreciation. I mean, I think you absolutely have to go. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So you definitely got to do that. And then a couple other things that I was going to talk about with Oahu's the North Shore, where you hear all these monster waves and stuff. Traffic on anywhere in Hawaii, really, but especially on Oahu and near Waikiki, because it's so overpopulated and overcrowded, and that's like a biggest business district, I assume, because it's Honolulu. It's going to take you a while to get anywhere, but the North Shore's not that far. I mean, it takes you probably 45 minutes, maybe an hour, something like that, if traffic cooperates. But it's a cool place to go because it's definitely less populated. It's so many more locals there. And you see these monster waves and people surfing out there. And that was just fun just to go there, even though I don't know how to surf and have never even attempted to surf. Literally just go there and just watch people for hours, just like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. They're riding this big wave.
That would be neat.
Yeah. Seems like there's always some kind of competition going on there, for surfing. There's probably not, but it seems like there is. So,
there's some competition.
Yeah,
just might not be organized.
But yeah, it's Waimea Bay and Sunset Beach. So those are cool. And then the Dole Plantation Tour, for pineapples.
Okay, yeah,
it's a big state for pineapples. We went there, but we were there too late for a tour, so we just kind of toured around the gift shop and stuff.
Great story.
And speaking of the fruit, I mean, have you ever been anywhere where the fruit was that good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. All of it.
It's
yes.
amazing.
It really is. Why are you laughing?
That just sounded funny.
But it's true. I mean, the fruit we buy here has come a long ways. It's amazing.
Yeah. So what else? What else there? Diamond Head. So that's their dormant volcano there, and it's a little hike. It's I think it's like a mile and a half, if I remember correctly, to the top of it, and you can even walk from Waikiki Beach from your hotel if you want. I mean, we plotted, and it was like 4 or 5 miles from our hotel, so we weren't going to do that because that'd be a long walk. But you
You're so lazy.
One way, 4 or 5 miles. That's a long way.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, so to the foot of it, once you get there, it's like a mile and a half, and it's not too strenuous. It's I remember there being a lot of steps, but it offers so many good views, and it offers great views of everything, like Waikiki Beach and Honolulu. And then on the other side, it's not as heavily populated, so you get to see more of that. But it, great 360-degree views, and I've got some phenomenal pictures.
So are the islands close enough that you could see from there? You could see?
I could see Maui from our hotel room.
Okay.
I could,
but it was very...
It's just way off in the distance.
Yeah, it was way off.
Okay.
Yeah, I could not see from there, but I'm not saying you can't. I just don't remember seeing.
Just somebody with vision could.
That could be possible.
Yeah.
I hate you. But, yes, could be possible. But that is an absolute must-see, a must-do if you go there, because it's pretty cool. Take the half day or whatever and do that if you're on that island. So that's kind of all I wanted to talk about with Oahu. I did that kind of quick, but
our listeners will be the judge of that.
Yeah, yeah. But if
anybody that's still listening hasn't turned this thing off by now.
But if you want to go to a beach, even though Waikiki Beach is very nice, it's very populated, I personally would rather, being from the East Coast of the U.S., I personally would rather go most places on the East Coast before I'd rather go back to Hawaii, take that long flight, and then go to Waikiki Beach. But everywhere else in Hawaii was phenomenal.
So what about Maui?
So Maui.
And Wayne, you said you've been there before.
Yeah, I've been there. Maui's beautiful.
Yes, it is. It is. So we did probably the thing that I like the most out of everything that I've mentioned so far is the road to Hana. Did you do that by chance? Okay. So it's like a 64-mile road, and it can drive you nuts because it's sharp, curvy roads where the road's not great.
Got to blow the horn around the curve.
I mean, and so it kind of turns into one lane, and then there's tons of buses that are touring it. But when you get off the road to some of the stuff that you encounter, that's what makes it worthwhile.
Like what?
So
waterfalls and lagoons at the bottom.
Yeah.
There's so many of those, yes, and so many different like lookouts where you can see different things. And I'll tell you a few of two of the coolest things that I got to see were the red sand beach. Where the beach sand is red, obviously
makes sense.
But it was kind of tucked back in a cove, so you had to hike to it a little ways.
Yep.
And it wasn't tough to hike at all. But it's probably half a mile off the road. And then you go back in there and you're like, okay, where am I going with this? And then it just opens up into this beautiful red sand beach.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it is really, and it's tucked back in almost like a little cove. So it's got a nice little area where, if you can get your kids down there, which there are some steep parts, it's nice because
what
there's
if you're
not
not
like
taking
huge
any kids?
waves. Well, then it's even better.
Yeah.
Or
you're taking kids that can walk.
Yeah. I mean, most people can get down there without a problem. But it's worth even just walking to it just to take the pictures because it's so picturesque.
Okay.
And then I'll say the black sand beach
I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah, well, that was the only one.
Wait, green sand, red sand, black sand?
So did you see a black sand beach?
Oh, yeah.
Wayne?
Yeah, we saw two of them.
Yeah.
One had very coarse black sand. It wasn't far from Volcano Park.
Mm-hmm. Big grains?
So it was newer.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And then when we were in the northern part of the island, there was another black sand. It was more of a dark gray sand, but it was very fine.
So that's what's weird is the one that we went to there, it had parts that were both ways. I mean, it was like very fine and very comfortable on your feet, and then other parts where, the closer you get to the water, it basically almost turned into like mini rocks.
Oh, yeah, like gravel.
Yeah, so it was interesting, but man, it's so aesthetically pleasing to the eyes. I mean, it was just incredible. It's just so unique and different from any other beach that you're going to see just because it's total black sand. And, again, to clash with the beautiful blue water, it's just, it was just a sight to see for sure.
Okay. Yeah, the water off the coast of Hawaii is so blue that when the blue sky meets the blue water, it's breathtaking.
It really is.
And then the green in the background from the landscape is beautiful.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like Wayne mentioned, there's other places that you can stop and hike, and some obviously are shorter than the others, get to waterfalls, or maybe there's some that are literally right off the road that you see as you're driving the road. So it is one of those things. It's going to take you a while to do because you're going to stop so many times. Yeah,
60 miles doesn't sound like much, but it's all day.
It really doesn't. But yeah, it is. You're stopping a ton, and even if you enjoy any of these beaches just for an hour, it's still going to take you a long time. I mean, even if you're just stopping at them, and then the different waterfalls. It's got other lava tube places there too.
What else?
And Maui, like the Big Island, is very rural. In fact, I didn't know this till I was there, but a native there told me there, so I'm assuming it's true. There is more cattle per square mile in Hawaii than there is in Texas.
Oh, wow.
So let that sink in.
Per square mile, yeah, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So the huge cattle farms, cattle ranches in Hawaii,
shocking.
and Maui is almost all pasture there in the center of the island.
Yeah, so that's what's, obviously you get more towards the coast and, it's eat up by the hotels and stuff like that. But, yeah, the more you get in the center, the more you navigate around and drive around, you see that kind of stuff. So if you go straight to your resort and just hang out at your resort, you're probably not going to see that much.
Yeah, you're not going to have any idea.
Which is okay. But, yeah, it's good to rent a car and on these islands and just drive and kind of get lost.
And that's a point I would make. I would never go to Hawaii to go to the beach.
Yeah.
ever. It's too far away, and the beaches are not as good as the beaches here.
Yep. I believe that.
But in fact, I would say that about any place. I wouldn't go any further than South Carolina just to go to the beach. But rent a car, explore it. I mean, the Hawaiian Islands have their own culture, and they are so laid back and so much cleaner than the Caribbean islands.
Oh, really? Okay.
For example, we're in Martinique a couple of years ago, and you don't have to guess where the dump's at Martinique. It's everywhere. But in Hawaii, which is, the Hawaiian Islands, which are islands,
right.
Junk that comes on the island, where's it going? Well, they're taking care of it.
Yeah.
There's landfills, and it's not everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's organization to take care of the trash. But in the Caribbean islands, it's all over the place.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in the Caribbean, and I agree. When you get done with something, you throw it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, what else? We got to be getting pretty close to wrapping this thing up. What else do you want to talk about?
Wayne, I think I'm pretty good about most of the stuff that I wanted to talk about. Anything else you got?
No, I'll give you more detail about some of the stuff we did there, but the lesson is rent a vehicle, mainly a Jeep, and go explore.
Yeah,
sweet,
and do some of the hiking.
Is that your final thought and summaries?
Yeah. I think so.
What about you?
That's about the same as I am. I think I can see why people would go there for the beach and just for the beach, but I agree with Wayne. I mean, they're incredible, they're beautiful, but if you're not out exploring some, just get lost. I mean, literally, because there's so much. You never know what you're going to see. I would try to do some research because there's so many pull-offs or little parking lots, and you're like, what is this for? You have no idea, and
turns out to be something beautiful.
Yeah, it's incredible, and you never know. Maybe it's a tenth of a mile, right down the little path, or maybe it's a mile. So you never know. So just try to do a little bit of investigation.
Do your research. Listen to this show.
Yes, always listen to us. By the way, you can find us on Facebook. And Instagram.
That's what I was going to do. With my final thoughts. That's
okay. Well,
that's okay. It's all right. It's okay for you to say that because. I'll just repeat it for the 3 listeners that stayed through your talk.
What are you talking about?
I'm very sure that everybody, once Wayne stopped talking, you took over. Everybody was just turning the thing off. But that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Hey, I will leave folks.
This is going to get more downloads than you can imagine.
It is. And if Ben has a way of tracking it, he's going to see this has got more downloads where people listen for 30 minutes and then turned it off than any podcast you've ever had.
Download is a download, my friend.
Anyway, so you can reach us at Why Would You Go There, at Why Would You Go There, at Facebook and Instagram, at Why Would You Go on Twitter. You can follow us on any of those places. Reach out to us. Tell us what your favorite thing to do was in Hawaii. It really sounds to me like this. I've never been, and for me, I would have thought before listening to you guys that, okay, I'm going to go to Hawaii, and maybe I'm going to do some kind of excursion to see a volcano, but mostly I'm going to hang out at the beach. And now I'm thinking when we go to Hawaii, we're not going to the beach. We'll see the beach. We'll hang out at the lagoon maybe, but really we're going to try to rent a car and explore the islands.
Yeah.
So that was a good learning experience for me. So I really appreciate it.
I love teaching you. So.
Yeah, of course you did. So I think I'll just end with our motto, and then we'll get out of here.
Do it.
What is it?
You do. You don't remember it.
No, it's better to go someplace you hate than to not go any place at all.
Yeah.
Stupid motto.
It really is. We talked about changing that.
Cue the music, Ben.
7 times.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but you don't ever do it.
I know.
You don't want to change it.
Yeah. Nobody likes change.
Nobody likes change. Whew, man.
Yeah.
All right,
By the way,
good. Wayne, you were great. And you always
thank you.
But I will say this: I am shocked that you did not go to Pearl Harbor.
That is true.
I understand. You would have had to take a day and all that stuff.
Yeah,
but
and if it were just Misty and I there, then we would have gone.
Yeah, well, you had other family.
Well,
with you
and my
kids.
It's my kids.
Yeah,
they'll one day wish they'd gone, but now that it's not a thing.
That's a good excuse for you to go back.
Yeah.
When we went, I thought this is my last trip to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Before we left, so I'm going to go do the things I want to do.
Yeah.
But I decided, we're going to have to go back. I want to go back to Maui.
Yeah.
And then maybe I'll make a day to go.
I want to go to Kauai. It's like the less inhabited of all these places, and just apparently so green still. And I mean, not that the other places aren't green, but
so last time you were here, I got to tell you this. You shamed us into talking about going to Charleston. I went home and told my wife, we got to go to Charleston. We got to go to Charleston. So then I said to Lee and Miriam, you guys, let's go to Charleston together. And we picked this date, and this is what we were going to do, and this is the date we're going to go. And then Miriam calls me up and says, hey, I found tickets for that week to Rome.
Yeah, to Italy.
Cheap. So we're going to Italy instead of Charleston. So
bless your heart.
So he proposed all this, and then it was like, okay. Well, I told him. I said, I'm going to go, but we're looking for trips to Italy during this month. So if something comes up, we're going to ditch you and we're going to go to Italy, just so you know. Yeah. And sure enough, was it that day or the next day?
It was that day.
It was that day. Miriam found tickets for $316 out of Charlotte to fly to Rome.
And so we're going to Rome.
You need to let me know when you find tickets that cheap.
Okay.
I've never been to Rome. I want to go.
Oh, man. Yeah. Somebody else said that, too. Carrie Archer was like, what? She didn't tell me about those tickets?
Oh, yeah. Yep. So, yeah. Also, by the way, I don't know if we're still rolling or not, but you always try to seem like, oh, this is boring when I'm not talking, but yet somehow we still get a lot of downloads when you're not talking as much. So it's interesting.
Whatever.
Coincidence?
Yeah, it is coincidence. Yeah, you think you're not boring? You're boring.
We still get a download.
Yeah.
All right.
That was good.